At this time, I'll call the public budget hearing to order and ask Ashley to please give the emergency announcement.
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you have reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
I'll now ask if you'll please do a roll call, Ashley.
Kirby? Here. Lewis? Here. Mitchell?
Here.
Moon? Here. Samples? Here. You have a quorum.
I'll now open the meeting and ask, is there any public input for the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget? Okay. If you will, just state your name when you come up.
Tana, Monroe District 7. I just want to comment on a couple of things, particularly the pay increases for elected officials. Circuit Court Clerk, over the last 2 years, there's a 19% pay increase. Accounting and Budget, 7.37% increase. Clerk and Master, 8.13% increase. County Clerk, 8.13. Development, 11.43. Election Commission, 7.5. General Sessions Judges, 3.63. Highway Superintendent, 19%. Mayor, 18.6. Probation Administrator, 15.6. Property Assessor, 8.13. Purchasing, 6.31. Register of Deeds, 8.13. Sheriff, 19%. Trustee, 8.13. And Veteran Services, 11.73%. I don't know how anybody can keep a straight face when they're giving themselves these kinds of pay raises and say there's no money for pay raises for the employees, and then get up here and pontificate about how this is a lean budget and how there's no money for pay raises. That's nonsense. I'd also like to know what we're getting for the $858,000 or $848,000 with the Blount partnership. There's one line in the budget and it just says contracts. What do we get for that? The Tourism Board, what do we get for that? We saw stuff in the paper last year about them bragging about how they were training gas station attendants. Do you really feel that that is an efficient use of taxpayer resources, that we're training gas station attendants? Furthermore, this budget was put forth without a recommendation. It's unbalanced, and this falls solely at the head of the chairman of this group. I just hope that within the new budget year we see some new faces on the budget committee. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Yes, come up. State your name, please.
Yes, I'm Jamie Daly from Louisville District. Okay, I noticed contributions on the budget of last year. It was $112,240. Why are we giving contributions to agencies when we are in debt? And the reappraisal department gets on the county budget every year. My understanding is that property is only appraised every 5 years. I think there was one more. Oh, yes. There's a budget for the workhouse. It gets $12,261 a year. That must be a part-time employee. I don't know anything about us having a county workhouse. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, anyone next? Okay, Linda.
Thank you. I'm Linda King with Citizens for Blount County's Future, and I represent the private sector. It's a new year, it's a new budget, but it's the same old thing. Your spending has exceeded your revenue. In the real world, that would mean cutting your budgets, as promised by the mayor. However, in the fantasy land of Blount County government, it means adding lots of new personnel, which increases our benefit liabilities. It means purchasing new vehicles. And it also means that department heads will ask for additional funds for employee raises. Time after time, I've pointed out that neither the citizens nor the commissioners are responsible for department salaries. In fact, the sheriff clearly stated that after he gets his budget, he'll do what he wants with it. What we've ultimately seen is a select group of employees well compensated, while the low-wage earners are kept at minimum levels. In my opinion, it is unconscionable for bureaucrats to pad their pockets at the expense of others. It is also unconscionable to expect the private sector, some on minimum wage, to pay taxes to departments that far exceed inflation rate spending, and to provide outrageous raises to elected officials. Between 2013 and the planned 2015 budget, our mayor's salary shows an increase of over 18%, from $104,000 to almost $124,000. The circuit court clerk, over 20%. The probation supervisor, over 15%. And the sheriff and highway superintendent salaries, both 19%. Plus, we provide their Cadillac benefit packages. That's just a sampling. At the same time, we folks on Social Security got 1.5% last year. Something's not right. We hear that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Here's a perfect example of our government getting richer and the private sector getting poorer. No wonder the Sentinel published a survey naming Tennessee as the third most corrupt state in the union. Their leading reason, inflated salaries for bureaucrats. And we're told that we don't have a spending problem, but a revenue problem. Think again. And by the way, we give our blood too.
Anyone else? Okay. This time I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. This time we'll start the special called budget committee. Oh, need a motion to, okay. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Okay. Do a roll call vote.
Kirby? Yes. Lewis? Yes. Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon? Yes. Samples? Yes. Motion's passed.
We'll now convene with the budget committee for the purpose of the special call meeting. Once again, I'll ask Ashley if you to please call roll.
Kirby? Here. Lewis? Here. Mitchell?
Here.
Moon? Here. Samples? Yes. You have a quorum.
Okay. Also, we'll do the emergency announcement in case new people have came in since the...
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you have reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
And I'll now ask if there's any public input on items that are on the agenda. Sheriff?
I will stand before you, as I did a couple weeks ago, and ask an appeal for a step increase for my employees. Contrary to what you hear, when a step increase is given, every single employee gets that. And I mentioned last time the amount of turnover we've had in the last 5 or 6 years. Just today, I've had 4 people give a notice people who've been in the academy, had years of experience, training, and they're leaving, just 4 in one day. And one reason I'm appealing to, last year, and I'm not talking about any other departments, but I guess I am. You read the paper, the city of Maryville was giving an increase, the city of Alcoa, all the way through the department. In the county, you got the school department, you've got, the highway superintendent. And in general county, in the sheriff's office, they're the only government employees that's not getting an increase. All we're asking for a step increase for employees that do a hard job and do it very well with the money that has been shifted from general county to these other departments, and they can receive raises. So I feel compelled to come up here and make this appeal for my employees that do a great job at a low pay, and let them see that we appreciate what the service they do for the community. And with that, thank you for your consideration.
Is anyone else items on the agenda?
I'm Phyllis Crisp. I'm the Register of Deeds, and I'd just like to say that, yes, I put in for a raise for my employees. They're very deserving. I have people that we record deeds. People coming in here to live in Blount County because it's in the top 10 places to want to live. One of the safest places, if you do your research, it's one of the safest places to live. They tell me how long the lines are that they have to wait in other states, but the service, they just can't say enough about the service that they get here in Blount County. I don't want to see that go away. And I guess I get offended anybody can say anything about me, but my employees, they do a good job, and they're no less than what your union people that have worked and made lots of money in factories and stuff like that, they deserve raises also. And I would just like to see them get some praise from some of the people that come up here and put them down. They do get that from lots of people in the community, but I just get tired of hearing it all the time. And I would just like to say, if you've got it in your heart, think of these great employees that you have that work for the county, have stuck with the county through thick and thin. I don't want to lose employees like the sheriff does once you get them trained. And in my office, it takes many years of experience to be able to do the job that they do. So I'm just asking, let's be kind to our employees and make them proud of the job that they do. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, come up.
My name is Mary Cook, and I'm in District 4, and I didn't plan on saying anything, but when I hear all the comments, it just impels me to talk. I think if you feel so encouraged about your employees getting more money, I say the top brass needs to take a pay cut to give these people their money. I have a college education. I have worked 40 years, and I'm still working. The Lord gives me grace to keep me working. And I want to say that I am in the top of where I work. I haven't had a raise in 6 years. I go out to the community and do community service for these people that need help. But I don't get an increase in my wages. I have to buy my own gas. I don't get gas write-offs. I drive a 10-year-old car because I don't want to make car payments. I go without. And the people I see are on Social Security. They indeed got a raise in Medicare, in their Social Security, but my one special lady, it cost her $20 a month. She lost her food stamps, and she lost any help she had in her home. So it cost her $20 a month to get a pay raise. She went without. She can't afford any more taxes. If she does, she will lose her home. You've got to think about the people you serve, not about your own pocketbook. I know I would stand in line for 2 hours if I had to save $50 or save $20. And I don't mind, and I know the people in the community do not mind either, because I talk to them on a daily basis. And we talk about how they can get going without losing any more money. They cannot afford. They will lose their home. And if you want to put these people out there that you're supposed to protect and care for, you're not doing a good job at all. I have talked to them when I went door-to-door campaigning. You don't know how the public feels about you all wasting your money. They're all against it. You should know by the way the people came to vote to remove some of you people here on the board, on the commission, because they're sick and tired of hearing you want more money, more money, more money. You've got to cut the budget so everybody can have a good life, not just a few. Good employees are good, but they will work because everybody needs a job, and they will work. And I tell you, they would stand in line like me to wait. There's nothing wrong with standing in line. That is why Tennessee is the third corrupt state in the union for corrupt government. And that's what we're looking at now. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing none, that's for discussion and possible action. Item 1, fiscal year 2014-15 budget appropriation resolution. Randy?
We have, as a result of the action that County Commission took last Thursday night, I'm making a suggestion to you. I can't make motions, but the original $44,936,000 budget that was presented, I'm recommending that that be reduced to $44,563,793. That is as a result of the action that we asked that County Commission consider, and subsequently County Commission approved this last Thursday night, which the budget proposal that was before you anticipated our ability to pay the surcharges or the past underfunding of our workers' comp and general liability. And we are now able to pay that this year, so we don't need to have that money in the budget for next year. So I'm recommending that you reduce that by some $372,493. That is a starting point, and then any other action you want to take on any of the discussion that we had at the last meeting on moving pennies or shifting taxes or whatever, that's up to you. But at a minimum, I would request that you take that suggestion into consideration, because we don't need it in this proposed budget. And that is what you got in front of you on page 1. It's on the screen.
Do we want to get that motion for discussion? Do I hear a motion to
I'll move it to
reduce
put
the
it on the
budget?
floor,
Okay.
and then I have a question.
Have a motion and a second, open for discussion.
Randy, then that money that you just reduced, it would just go back to the fund balance?
Well, you're paying it out this year. It's all coming out of the same pot. You're just paying it this year, so you don't need to pay it next year.
Okay, so it just takes both sides down by
Yes.
300,
What?
whatever.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Yes.
resolutions while we have on the table. Next motion, expenditures and revenue.
Randy?
Budget resolutions made up of appropriations and revenue, correct, sir?
That's correct. I mean, we factor it into it. You're approving an appropriation resolution, but we also have the detail for all the revenue estimates that we have projected for next year as well as part of what was publicly on our website.
And if I'm not mistaken, the amendments we made at a previous meeting dealt with the revenue side.
That is correct. When you previously met, there was discussion of moving pennies on the education allocation of the tax rate, moving a penny on the debt service allocation of the tax rate, and shifting the cable franchise fee back to general county. All of those increased revenues in the general fund.
That being so, two of the three dealt with the next resolution, which is setting the tax rate.
That is correct.
The third one dealt with cable franchise fees that were by action of the commission went to the highway department 3 fiscal years ago.
That's correct.
Thank you. What we have before us, that money is still going to the highway department. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Just for clarification.
What is before you, based on my suggestion to you as a starting point, is just eliminating from the budget some $372,000 worth of expenses associated with workers' comp and general liability.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we bring back to general county from the highway department the cable franchise authority fees with the exception of $240,000.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the reason that I made the motion, the highway department, for every $40,000, the federal government will put up $1 million for bridge work. There's a number of one-lane bridges in Blount County that need attention, and in discussion with the highway commissioner, Mr. Dunlap, he had plans this next year, the next 2 budget cycles, to do something with these one-lane bridges and to take all that money back this year, which is not the case. We haven't done that. Then it would kind of caught him off guard when we were bringing the entire $600,000 back. So I'm not against taking some of that money back, but let's please entertain the idea of leaving $240,000 as the motion, and that should free up that should provide him $6 million in funding for bridges. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The motion is to take $240,000 back from the highway department.
No.
To leave $240,000. So we'll actually take $450,000. Okay,
Take everything else
that's what I
back.
said. We're leaving him $240,000. Okay, so we're
taking back 360, is that correct?
No.
no.
The effect of the motion is the total amount of money is $690,000. So the effect of the motion is you would leave 240 in Highway Fund 131 and 450 would get transferred to 101.
Is that the way the motion was
So
stated?
that would be an increase of $450,000 in the General Fund 101. That's the effect of the motion.
Correct.
Have we given Mr. Dunlap the full 690 or 600?
690 was what was in the budget.
There was-
He The highway department has it in two pockets. It has it in its operating fund and in its capital fund.
Okay. I was under the impression we had given him 600 out of the 690. You're saying we had previously given him 690.
690 is what's in,
Okay.
in the proposal that you're amending.
Okay.
Now, are you making an amendment to that motion the other day?
The other day doesn't count.
Okay, so we're going.
We're back to ground
So
zero.
the motion on the floor is to give, the motion on the floor is to give the highway department, 240, is take, 450 out of that reserve, okay. So is that the motion you're making?
The motion on the floor is to pull 450,000 of the 690,000 on the cable franchise fees back from the highway department to general fund. Did I have a second on that? Okay. We need a roll call vote.
Kirby?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Samples?
Yes.
The motion's passed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the budget with the changes that Mr. Vineyard has suggested to us and the change that the previous motion just affected.
Okay.
Second motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, will that be forwarding it to the commission with the recommendation?
Yes.
Okay. Or do we still had the pennies that we were,
We'll do that next.
okay, all right, to talk about. All right, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
Kirby?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes.
Samples?
Yes.
The motion's passed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue with our previous recommendation. General county at 66, schools at 107, debt service at 42, for a total tax rate of 215, no increase.
I'll second that.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Is there any question? Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Kirby?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Moon?
No.
Samples?
Yes.
The motion's passed.
Okay. This time the tax rate is set at 215. Now I ask if there's item number 2, or if there's any, we have anything else to talk about on that? Any other discussion?
Call a meeting.
Okay.
Call meeting.
All right. Ask for any input on items not on the agenda. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Move we adjourn.